Welcome everyone to the home of finding sweet chocolate Easter eggs within our video games. Perhaps, but it's as, but just as this is the Easter egg hunter. It's not very often Luigi gets the opportunity to take centre stage and occupy the main role within a video game, and has nearly always been overshadowed by his famous plucky plumber brother Mario. However, cue September 2001 in Japan when Nintendo's GameCube entered the market, Luigi's Mansion also sprung onto the scene, bringing with it a brand new, different and scary adventure, as we follow our friend on a journey while he explores every nook and cranny of his new but haunted home in search of his brother Mario, who is meant to meet him there. Little does Luigi know a very evil plot is afoot, and will end up tackling copious amounts of evil spirits that live and lurk there. And with that, let's now indulge in some references, secrets, and more importantly, some Easter eggs. Number 1. Ever since Luigi's Mansion launched and became one of the GameCube's biggest selling titles, there have been countless amounts of references tucked away in other games, including Super Smash Bros. Melee and Brawl, Super Mario Galaxy, Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door, and the list goes on. My personal favourites though appeared only a year later in Super Mario Sunshine, where upon starting the game Mario was introduced to FLUDD, a flash liquidizer ultra dowsing device that so happens to be the handiwork of GAD Science Incorporated. Or in other words, it was made by Professor EGAD, the creator of the Poltergust 3000. The second reference lay a little later on in the game when you visited Serena Beach and were able to venture inside the Fina Hotel. Once you have progressed and scrambled your way to the uppermost corridors, you would encounter ghosts haunting the corridors and a pianta sweeping the floors who would say this very interesting line. Number 2. One of the perks of completing and rerunning Luigi's Mansion is that 1, you can now play the hidden mansion, and secondly, you'll now discover which home you're able to build with all the cash you unearthed throughout your time spent within the game. The higher the cash flow, the bigger Luigi's new dwelling would be. For those of you who might not have had the chance to see the awesome Rank A residence, which required depositing a handsome sum of over 100 million Gs or 150 million Gs for the PAL versions, then you could just pop in a copy of Mario Kart Double Dash, then head to Luigi's Circuit. Once the race is underway, drive straight to the top of the first embankment and take a look at the lodgings standing in the background, as this is the Rank A quarters. Oddly enough though, it appears that this was not the house that Luigi won at the end of his game. And how so, you might ask? Well, if you own a copy of Luigi's Mansion 2, pop it in and watch the opening titles. You'll see Luigi sleeping in his armchair, and what follows is almost sort of a reenactment of the famous scene from Poltergeist. However, just before all of that, gaze upon the new house that Luigi is now living in, and this is actually the Rank D residence. Number 3. Game menus don't normally offer up anything particularly interesting, though Luigi's Mansion is definitely an exception to the rule and has to be classified as fun and creepy all in one. If at any time you quit the game, the menu will ask you, do you want to quit, with yes and no being your choices. Underneath though is where the creepy part comes in, as it reads, you'll be back, which is then followed up by saying, and we'll be waiting. Okay, so that's rather chilling for starters. Beneath the menu message of which file would you like to load reads, welcome to your mansion, though it swiftly changes to welcome to our mansion. The last two though are possibly the best, as if you press Y to copy a file, the phrase more files mean more fear pops up. And the final harrowing message happens when you press X to erase a file, as below this it reads, do you really want to erase this file? And it reads, you can erase the files, but not the fear. Number 4. This Easter egg has indeed already featured within the series, but since Tataka's song so happens to be one of my favourite Easter eggs, we might as well hear it again. So once Luigi's mansion is underway from the start, it won't be long before you meet up with Professor Egad. He will mention about teaching you how to deal with the ghosts, and after this it will swiftly move to the controller setting menu. Here you will need to rest for just over 3 minutes to hear the funkiest version of the infamous Tataka's song. Number 5. For the final time this episode, we are going to examine a shadow that many of you are already aware of. And this is a shadow that has been documented, discussed, scrutinised and studied endlessly over the years. So what is this creepy shadow? Well, towards the latter parts of the game, you will reach the 3rd floor only to be distracted by a ringing telephone. After following the ringing that leads you into the telephone room, you can answer the 2nd phone, which is in the centre of the room. After talking for a while, lightning will strike, causing Luigi's shadow to cast onto the wall behind him. It's a split second, but this shadow is where all the chatter lays. Now, if you just witnessed this for the first time, it could certainly raise a question or two, like, was that Luigi's shadow being hung? I mean, this is a haunted house after all, and it would fit the theme perfectly, as the house and the ghosts want revenge. What a great way to show him his future. But then you should quickly come back down to earth and realise that this is a game for most ages, with mild comic horror, and should certainly not reach the extent of someone being hung. Should it? The other thing that makes this really creepy is that the shadow is positioned beneath a beam, which just makes it even more chilling. Even seeing this though and being freaked out by it first time, I do believe that this is just a lighting glitch. How so? Well, I've actually noticed 2 shadows that have been cast in the same way to make Luigi seem as if he is floating in mid-air, once after facing the baby from the nursery, and once after defeating Bolossus, so I know that this is not just a one-off. The thing that makes it really stand out though is that it appears in such a creepy room. It's dark, a ringing telephone, beams, lightning, thunder. What else could you want from a scary scene? But I really think it's just a glitch, which is still unsettling nonetheless. And with that, and until next time, this is the Easter Egg Hunter, cracking out. Coming soon on the Easter Egg Hunter.